Hello. Make sure my sound's working as usual. It is fantastic. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I hope we're all on good form today. We are back working on Steam Game 2. It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to today. We're going to do some fun stuff. I'm not entirely sure what order I'm going to tackle things in yet, but, you know, we'll give it a go and see how it is. Also make sure that I'm not picking myself up on the microphone over here from my phone. Right, yeah, before we start, as last time, my Steam game Tirelands is out now. It's available. If you haven't already, feel free to check it out. It's $3 on Steam. It's a little Dorfromantic style tile placement game with a bit more depth, inspired by games like, again, Dorfromantic, Islanders, all that kind of strategy puzzle stuff. If that's your jam, you'll enjoy it, I promise. Joking. And let me know what you think if you do. So, the plan for today is we are going to be finishing off the interaction work that we did last time, and we'll look at all of that for anyone who's new. I can see there's lots of new faces popping up in the view count, so hello. Don't be scared, say hi. I like chatting to you guys. But yeah, we're going to work on more interaction stuff, get all of that working, get the player picking up items and being able to put them back down again, setting up some like resource points like trees and ore deposits so that we can have the user walk up to them and smack them with a pickaxe or something. And then if we have enough time, we might make a like the central base as well, which the player can dump all of their resources that they get into. Yeah, it should be good. So let's hop over into Unity and review everything that we did last time. I've not really changed anything, so just again, yeah, like I say, to show everybody where we're at from the last stream. We've got a player that spawns in. You can move around with the WASD key, sprint with shift, and you can walk up to stuff and press space to interact with it. So we've got a fake tree, pseudo tree over here, and we've called it tree, and then fake rock, which we've called rock. Down here, we can walk up to this one as well, press space, and boom, interacted with a rock. We're doing all of this in Unity. We are using good coding practices. That's the goal. And I basically haven't touched the project since Monday when we did the last stream. The only things that I have changed are the way that I'm doing input handling. So just a quick look at the input controller. You'll see now I've gotten rid of the reference to like the controls class and all of the callbacks there. Instead, what we're doing is on the player main controller, I've actually just got one of Unity's player input components, which is then calling the respective methods over on the player input class to pass through the events or update the like the values for vectors and things like that. Reason being is because, like I say, I want to kind of iterate through this in stages, where stage number 1 is getting the game working basically with local multiplayer, then getting online multiplayer working, and then integrating it with Steam. And local multiplayer is easiest to do using the new input system with the player input and player input manager components. That's what I did for Square Off, and setting up local multiplayer for that was super straightforward. Relatively speaking, it was super straightforward. So yeah, I decided to bin off having the input purely driven by a custom solution, and instead use the player input component, because then we can use the player input manager component that Unity provides to spawn in our players manually and handle all of like which controller belongs to which player object and all the rest of it. So other thing that I've done is added in my spring animation utilities, which is like a load of old scripts that I used in Tirelands for doing spring based animation. It's just nicer for prototyping, getting stuff in, and being able to, like, you know, get all of our nice animations going, so that the game feels juicy and responsive right off the bat without having to actually make the animations using Unity's animator. So, with that said, we are good to crack on. And I think what we should do first is start off with creating the pick up, put down controller. Because what I think we'll end up doing for code structure, we've got our player interaction controller. We'll also have a player pickup controller and then a player action controller. And the action controller will effectively be like another delegator where we can go in and substitute out the callback for each of our action buttons based on the current like actionable or something like that. We'll figure it out when we get there, but that'll be the last thing we do today, or the second thing we do today, sorry. And then the pickup controller will be its own separate class, again, to delegate some interaction functionality to on the player, and we'll have that take care of whether it like picks something up or puts something down, and yeah, handle all stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get that done. I'm going to delete this rock and tree from the scene, and I'm going to go ahead and create I'm going to create a new script for our pickup controller. Player pickup controller. And we'll pop this open in Visual Studio as well. Now, can I zoom in a little bit? There we go. Bang. Much better. That's only going to be the one class. Oh no, it's done everything. Good. Usually it only does the one class and I'm like, ugh, useless. So, how do I want to do this? Let's have a public void pickup item, which for the time being, I'm not going to do anything. We'll also have a public void drop item and a public void throw item. Thinking about how I want to make this happen. I want the player to basically, like I say, have three things they can do. They can pick up an item, and then when the item's in their hand, they can either put it back down again, or they can throw it. And whether we do this with physics or not is still a question that I'm wondering, because physics in multiplayer is kind of online multiplayer, that is kind of a ball ache. So I don't know. We'll see. Real quick before I continue writing any of that script, I'm going to go ahead and create a new script again called pickup item or item. Pickup item. Let's call it pickup item. So this is an item that we can pick up. Nice and simple. And we're going to have this be of type interactable. Let's go ahead and implement that interface. And for anyone again who missed the last stream, this is an interface that we set up in that. Basic case, it just gives back an interact prompt, which eventually we will replace with a icon, because I want it to come up in like a little speech bubble above the player's head, and a method for the callback for interaction, which is how we'll handle the case of this item being interacted with. So for the case of a pickup item, that's a thought actually. We also want to be able to, rewind. Pickup items, we only want to be able to interact with them if they're not already being held. So we probably want to have some way of setting if something is interactable or not. And I think the best way to do that is going to be by sticking a bool in our interactable, public bool interactable, which we will also have be a get. And then that's going to throw us some errors on the test interactable. So I'll go ahead and just add this back in and I'll have it return true always. This isn't a class that we're going to be using in the game. It was just one that I made last stream so that we could test everything was working. And it is, so we're good. For the pickup item, however, we want it to be interactable if it's not already being held. So we'll come back to how we're going to do that in just a second. Interact prompt, I'm going to say press space to pick up. Like so. Woo, what did I do there? And then for actually interacting with it, we will have our player pickup controller. When we do pickup item, let's have it take in a pickup item. Pickup item. Like that. And then we can go on here and say, yeah, player pickup controller equals interactor dot get component player pickup controller, and then we'll say pickup controller dot pickup item and pass in this. Nice and simple. I think that makes sense. What we can also do is at this point let's have a private So what I'm debating right now is whether I want the pickup item to have a reference to the thing that's holding it, and we can do a null check on that to see if we're interactable or not. So if nothing's holding it, it's not being held, so we can pick it up. Or if I want to just have a bool, like an internal bool, which we can set to true when we interact and set to false when we drop it. And I think probably the way I want to do it is with a reference to the holder. So let's have a player pickup controller holding controller, and we can go here and say interactable is true if holding controller is equal to null. So we don't have anything holding it, therefore it can be picked up. And then we can set it here, and we'll also have a method public void clear holding controller, which will just say holding controller equals false. No, sorry, not false. What am I talking about? There we go. Cool. So then in our player pickup controller, we're also going to have a reference to the item that we're currently holding, because, you know, makes sense. We want to have that. We're going to have a couple of transforms as well. So let's have a serialized field, private transform, and this is going to be our item hold position. Serialized field, private transform item drop position. We can also have a serialized field private float. I think a float. I might change it to a vector 2. We'll see. But for now we'll do a float, and this is going to be our item throw force. And then the rest is all going to be internal, so private pickup item held item. I think actually that's going to be everything we need. Yeah, cool. Let's go ahead and start populating some stuff. So, unless I'm just having a thought about how I want to handle like dropping and throwing. No, we'll have those as actions. So what we can do when we pick up the item, we can actually do a callback to our player controller to say that the current action context is the pickup controller, and then, you know, primary action is going to be throw item, secondary action is going to be yeah. So actually, we're going to be jumping all over the place while we're doing this. Let's go ahead and create a new interface, C# script, which is going to be I action I don't want to call it I action. I want to call it like action. Yeah, like I primary actionable. Yeah. Yeah. No, we'll call it I user actionable. No. I'm going to do it primary and secondary, but I really don't want to. Let's do I actionable. I hate programming because it's like I never know what direction I want to go in. Gonna have that be an interface, and the way that I want this to work is that we'll have effectively a delegate, so a public delegate void primary, or yeah, handle, yeah, primary action callback, bang, and then we'll have a public delegate void secondary action callback. And then we can have a public void assign primary action callback. I guess. Maybe not. I had just thought how I was going to do this in my head, and now I have no idea how I'm going to do this. It's going to be actionable. Wait a minute, why is this not complaining? Oh wait, can I... If I do that, now this should complain, right? Yes. Because what I essentially want it to do is, yeah, primary action is going to be drop item. But I do want to set them as parameters. I don't want to set them like, I don't want them to be voids. I do want them to be yeah, cool. So we'll have public delegate void primary action callback delegate void blah, 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 and then we'll have a public primary action callback primary action, going to be a get, and then public secondary action callback secondary, yeah, there we go, action callback. Delegate is action callback. We have a and then we'll have an action callback primary action callback secondary action get, and we'll also need ways of setting those, which should be implemented. So public void set primary callback action callback callback, and public void set secondary callback action callback and then we probably want a public void clear callbacks. Like so. Cool. So now, implementing all these gubbins. Clear callbacks, we are going to say primary action equals null. secondary action equals null. And what we can actually do for these, even though we've only set just a getter, we can actually go up here and say get private set, because we're doing everything that it wants us to do. We're just doing some extra on top, and that's okay. So we'll do that for both of our actions. Is it going to force me to implement them explicitly, or can I just... Oh, no, of course, because it's... Yeah, cool. So yeah, then the drop item and throw item methods are going to end up being the primary and secondary action callback, and it will be a case of like how we handle this callback. I'll have to figure out some more of the specifics of how we handle the callback, but I'll get to that in a minute. Let's circle back and think about how we're going to handle actually picking up the item, and the answer is going to be held item. Held item equals pickup item, and then if held item is not null, so if we're already holding something, we don't want to do this, and we're going to have to think about how we handle that with UI as well, because I realize we've got some conflict between this being interactable. I mean, perhaps picking up and dropping the item are the primary and secondary callback for our action, rather than it being an interaction. Although I feel like an interaction feels more intuitive, so I don't think that's the route I'm going to go down. Either way, held item is going to equal our new pickup item, and we're going to say pickup item dot transform dot position equals no, we won't do that. We'll have a an update method where we say if held item, then held item dot transform dot position, transform dot set position and rotation, and we'll set the position to our item hold transform dot position. Let's rename this item hold transform dot position and item hold transform dot rotation. So that way, when we're holding an item, it'll always be facing in the same direction. And then for drop item, we are basically going to do the opposite. So we'll say held item dot set transform dot set position and rotation. And you know what, actually, just so we don't end up with conflicts, I'm going to say var temp equals held item equals null, and let's actually go ahead and make this a transform with a capital C, transform held item dot transform. Yep. And then we can do temp dot set position and rotation item drop transform dot form dot position and item drop transform dot rotation. Cool. And we also want to make sure that we do our held item dot clear holding controller as well. Sweet. So that's theoretically picking up items and dropping items. And I realize I want these callbacks to be on, probably on the, you know, on the player. I had a complete brain freeze for a second then. But I'm kind of in two minds where I want to delegate to, oh yeah, of course, I want to delegate to something else. So we should have a void, which matches, yeah, we should have these action callbacks. Lovely stuff. Let's get rid of these because we don't need them. So we want action callbacks on our actionables so that we can go on to our thing, and basically like on awake, or start, nope, not stack, start, we can say primary action equals, and then drop item, and secondary action equals throw item. Cool. And then we can yeah, basically hand these off. What we probably want to make sure we do actually as well is on this action callback, we want to take in a callback back context, because we want to be able to get some reference to like what the context of the action is. For example, when throwing, I want the player to be able to press and hold. So they press and hold and it pulls back the thing and then they throw it. Or they throw it when they let go. So that should be passed through on our pickup controller. So let's go ahead and get rid of these methods that we deleted on the interface. Callback context, and then we can say if not context dot performed return. For the drop item, and then for the throw item, callback context. Now that we've got reference to what the contexts are, we can do all of our things. And the best part as well is because we'll have a reference to our because this is owned by the parent, we should have some reference to our parent controller. So let's go ahead and give ourselves that. Private player controller, and we can go ahead and actually have our callback methods, or like the setting callback methods, on the controller. That makes sense. Adam's here. Hey friend. That's all good. I haven't spoken to you in a while. I'm doing good though. I'm doing good. I hope you're good as well, and on good form. We're currently working on a new multiplayer game, one for the boys to try out, mayhaps. It's going to be fun as well. If I can do code architecture good, then we are in the money here. Cool. I am like real quick. I'm hopping about all over the place, but I'm going to go back to my player controller, and I need it to be a player pawn controller. Player pawn controller. Let's make sure on awake we assign that. So controller equals get component player pawn controller, like so. And then on the player pawn controller we can have a we'll have we'll have a couple of methods, possibly, yeah, I think under here we'll have private, public void, set action callbacks, assign action callbacks. which is going to take I actionable action callbacks. And a public void clear action callbacks, which will just be probably it might be a one-liner, but probably not. And then the question is, do I want to go and say like player input controller dot yeah, I probably want to do it like this. So I probably want to actually have change the way my player input controller is working. So let's go and do that. We are going to say yeah, rather than handle primary action trigger, yes, yeah. Rather than calling an event, we will instead have a public action actionable dot action callback primary action and public actionable dot action callback secondary action. And then we can just call them here primary action with context and secondary action with context. I wonder actually if primary action and secondary action can be just like direct callbacks in the component. I mean, if they can, then I don't think I'll do it like that anyway, because it should be separate. Player input controller handle. No, we've just got the handle. Cool. So I can leave it as is. Gotten busier, coming up to yeah, makes sense. Lots of family stuff, buying presents and all that jazz. I am working on exactly that game, the little multiplayer game. So obviously Tilelands is out, Tilelands is done. There'll still be updates, obviously, but it's on Steam, it's released, going well. So the next game that I've started working on is a kind of like Dome Keeper, hence the thumbnail for the stream, where you have a central tank that you collect resources and dump stuff into, and then you spend those resources to build towers that will kill enemies that are trying to kill your central base. But rather than it being like set upgrades or set towers like a machine gun tower or all the rest of it, you build different types of modules that you then piece together in a kind of Astroneer style vehicle building sense. Or you can just plug all these bits together and kind of build out different automations. So like I've got a vision for people being able to build like an automated wood cutter, a drivable tank, automated tanks, and all that fun stuff. And that'll be where like the bulk of the fun juice comes from, is looking at that system. But we're not doing that system in this stream. This stream we're focusing on finishing interaction and getting the resource mining stuff in place, which I think we're probably there. I want to test to make sure that picking up and dropping stuff is going to work with this this wacky system that I've built. So let's go ahead and actually make sure that when we pick up the item, we go ahead and say our controller dot set assign action callbacks. We're going to pass in this. Yeah, nice. And then when we drop the item, we can also say controller dot clear action callbacks. like so, and that should mean that we have no like weird stuff going on. And then let's put in some debugs just to make sure that we've got stuff happening here. So for here we're going to say input controller dot primary action equals action callbacks dot primary action, and player input controller dot secondary action equals action callbacks dot secondary action. Very nice, because if these are null, which they're allowed to be, then it's still going to be null on here. And then on the bottom, let's just make sure we go ahead and set these to null on their own. And we also want to make sure that when we clear all our input callbacks, we go ahead and clear our action callbacks as well, so that we don't mess anything up. And I think that should be the same for, yeah, clear all callbacks, set all callbacks. Jobs are good. Last thing there is to do, we've set up the drop. I'm not going to do anything for throwing. I'm just going to say debug.log. No, I'm not gonna think about throwing stuff now. I'm not gonna think about that. One thing that we will need to do is put in some, in the same way that we've done for the iInteractable, we're also going to need a primary action prompt and a secondary action prompt. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Let me actually put in those debugs, like I said I was gonna do. Ooh, yeah, that's probably a better way to do it, actually, is if we make a struct. I'm not going to put in debugs for now. I'm just going to set things up. So let's grab one of our player pawns out, and we'll go ahead and start whacking on our picky-uppy droppy stuff. So I'm going to put up a pickup controller. I'm going to ignore the throw force for now. I'm going to create an empty, which is going to be our hold item hold transform. You're not the first person to say that. Like, look, okay, look. I know it's kind of sus, but it's not a Mogus. I swear. I promise. It's just bean. I shouldn't have made him red. that was my mistake. Oh dear. No, I absolutely should not have made a red bean as my my temporary player. That was a bad call on my part. Oh dear. Right, and this is going to be the item drop point. Transform. That's not how you spell transform. We'll go ahead and assign these. Drop transform and hold transform. That's actually everything we need. So I can go ahead, save, we'll apply all of those and delete the boy from the scene. And then let's create a test pickup object. So I'm going to make a sphere. We're going to call you ball. I'm going to make it 0.5. And I'm going to give it a material, because I want it to have a material. Test pickup. And what color should we have our test pickup be? I'm thinking I want to make it probably grey, because it can be a rock. Or no, let's make it kind of like yellowy gold kind of color. So it looks like gold. This is still Unity. Reason that I'm using Unity for this one as well, actually, because obviously I've been looking at Godot as well, is purely for online multiplayer. I know Godot does have a good online multiplayer solution, but it doesn't have particularly strong integrations with Steam. And I also know that I have some bigger ambitions with this one, in terms of like where I want it to end up. So I yeah, I wanna use an engine that I know can definitely support me in that. And at the moment, Godot can't. Unity can, Godot can't. Which isn't like a poor judgment on Godot or anything like that. It's just, you know, it's what it is. I will still use Godot moving forwards for some other projects. 0.25 for the radius on this. I want it to be up by 0.5, so it's 0.25, so it's in line with the ball. This is going to be our actual pickup item. I'm going to give it a rigid body, just so that it falls and stuff. And I'm going to give it our pickup item. Sweet. There's nothing fancy I need to do on that. The only thing that I will probably do is, let's just make it so that, yeah, we'll give it a rigid body. Private rigid body RB awake RB equals get component rigid body. I wonder actually if we can just have that like that, because it knows. No, we can't. Okay. I thought it might be able to intuit the type because we know that this is a rigid body, therefore we should be getting a rigid body, but no, not how it works. And then, yeah, we'll just go ahead and make it so that when we pick this thing up, we say rb.isKinematic is true, and rb.isKinematic is false. And actually, I think we'll probably be able to demo one of the problems that I was thinking we would run into here. So let's go ahead and pick this thing up. Great. And then I should be able to put it down with J. Great. It worked. There are errors in the console. That's me pressing J when the callback is null. Which is cool, that's fine, but everything is working. We can pick something up and put it down. Fantastic. Let me put a fix in for that null callback. So all we need to do for that actually is just go to our player input controller and do a null check. If primary action is not equal to null. Oh, can I not put if statements in? I guess not. All right, fine. Then we'll do that. Likewise. If secondary action is not null, well, secondary action. Ooh, that's quite nice. There we go. Unity or Visual Studio has told me I can do it in one line again. And you know me, I like one-liners. If I can keep my classes small, I will keep my classes small. Sweet. So, yeah, that's all working, which is fantastic. I'm very happy with that. And that means that we also now have a completely dynamic usage system, completely dynamic interactions, completely dynamic primary and secondary actions, which is perfect because obviously I wanted to make it so that we can have like different behavior for different like different components within our towers. Like if we want something that can be able to move, and like you can shoot with the J key, or like I don't know, rotate with the K key or something. I think, yeah, that's like fantastic. So let's go ahead and do a bit of a refactor so that we can start having some references for this stuff. And the way I'm going to do that is with a public struct, and this is going to be an action definition. And this is what's going to have the action callback. I wonder, can I put you here? Yes, I can. Good stuff. So we will have a public action callback, And we'll have a public string action name. We'll give this a constructor, public action definition, which is going to take an action name, string action name, and an action callback. Oh my gosh, can't type. Action name equals action name. Callback equals callback. And then rather than just having a plain action callback up here, let's have an action definition. Like so. That way, back on our pickup controller, we can just straight up have this as an action definition. Action definition, and then primary action is going to equal new our action is going to be drop item. Drop item. Forgetting how to use my own code. And then for the secondary action, we are going to row item. And we'll pass that method through as well. And this way, what we can do is actually go ahead on when we assign our callbacks, I can add a new debug.log. I was going to just straight up debug.log, but what I'll actually do is create myself a string builder. String builder SB, sure, equals new. And then we can say SB dot, or if player input controller dot primary action is not equal to null, SB dot append line, press J to I need to make sure that this is the callback. Oh wait, no I don't actually. I don't. We'll keep that as it is, and then on the player input controller, we'll have this not as an action callback, but as the action definition. And then we can do primary action dot callback. Oh, now I will need to do it as a null check. Oh, that's annoying. Ah, well. Win some, you lose some. If primary action is not equal to null. Action definition can't be null. Of course, because it's a struct, and we can't have null structs. I can make it a class, but I don't really want to. I want to have a choice. Wait, can I now? Oh, I can do it like that now. Gosh darn. Right, okay. Okay, we're back in business. We're back in business. Question mark. Cool. Job done. Yeah, I need that to be as it is, or I can't use the callback. Read. Back on the player pawn controller. So if primary action is not equal to null, we can say press J to player input controller dot primary action dot action name. Likewise. Secondary action, press K to secondary action. And if I was being really clever, I could actually probably go in here and like get the key, but I'm not gonna faff with that. And then let's just do debug.log sb.toString. And also debug.log clearing action callbacks. Make sure everything's working there. And we'll double check that all of that's working, because that means that we've got, you know, proper throughput of our actions. I don't believe it should have broken anything in the inspector. Pick it up. Hey, look at that. Press J to drop, press K to throw. So I press J and I drop it, clearing all action callbacks. 10 out of 10. And now if I press J and K as well, we're not getting any null errors. Not bad for an hour's work, if I do say so myself. Let's make it so we can throw this item, shall we? So on the player pickup controller, this is where we're going to do some checks for, like, actually how the interaction is going. So if context dot performed, so if we press it, we're going to start charging the throw. Else, if context dot cancelled, then we can release the throw. This does not need callback context, or no, it does. It does need callback context. I'm lying. So charging the throw. I don't want to do that. There's probably like a better way to do this rather than... I did this before in a game actually called Nightmare Daycare, which was a DevOps portal. It was a game jam game that I made with my good buddy Jaden and with... let me switch over here real quick while I get my details in. Made with Jaden and with my other buddy Alex. And that was a very fun project, which we didn't manage to get up to the scope we wanted, but it did have like basically everything. I want to steal as much from that game as I possibly can to put into this game in terms of the way that the character moves and feels. Do I remember what my password is? I think I do. I do. Fantastic. No Unity. I don't want to get started. Skip tour projects. Just so I'm not showing off anything too fancy. Game just live. Can I see... I do realize it's still on my face as well. I want to... DevOps. Version control. There we go. Repositories. Games just live. Cool. Let's get back in here. So... yeah, this game, just so you guys can see it as well, actually, let's head over to Dogstudios.io. Nightmare Daycare. It was so much fun. It was basically the whole premise, like the theme was every life counts, and the whole premise of this game was that you're a person running a daycare and the kids just, they have like, they're driven by a utility AI and they can run around and they'll get bored or tired or hungry, and you've got to like keep an eye on them and make sure that they get the items they need without getting items that will cause other children harm. And it was like fully procedurally animated, very nice flat shading in the same kind of style that I'm following here. Very sock pop, which is like everything that I want to be. And it was, yeah, just really hilarious to work on. But as you can see, it had this, can I zoom? Can I zoom? Yeah, here we go. You could pick things up and the babies could pick things up. And it was, yeah, just hilarious. So in the code for this, I don't remember if I had a, like, I know it was using a state machine, but I don't know if it was a specific player state that handled like the input for throwing and dropping, or if it was something that I did in the input handler itself. Player input dot actions pause dot performed. Yeah, so I was assigning all of the callbacks programmatically based on name, which this is terrible. I hate working like this because strings is just not good code practice at all. Or like typing in strings to reference a thing, because if I change the name of that action, the code's broken. It's like, oh no, why is my code broken? But here we go. This is what I want to look at. So we're adding in a, if it's performed, then we check the interaction type to see, yeah, slow tap, multi-tap, single tap. So I seem to have done, if it's a slow tap interaction, then we're releasing the hold, and therefore action triggered is true and held is false, which is ridiculous. So where am I setting interaction held to true? Ah, here we go. So interact.started. Gotcha. And that's all in the start method. And then I'm just doing some checks for, yeah, cool. All right. So probably the way that I want to do this is have some check here for like charging the throw. So we can say private bool throw charging, and we can say if throw charging handle charge row, like so. And let's make that method as well public, private, make it private, void handle charge throw. We'll handle charging our throw here. So then we can say, yeah, if context.started, then we'll say throw charging equals true. And if context.performed and we won't have this as an else, we'll just have it as a separate if. So if context.performed and context.interaction is equal to interaction, was it interaction type? Oh no, we're just saying context.interaction is slow tap interaction. And I think I remember why this wasn't like preferable is because of the way that interactions work. Oh, Bionicle's back. Did you just get the notification from YouTube? Because that's like classic YouTube. If that's the case, I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Yeah, I don't know how YouTube works. Although I will say they seem to be working in my favor at the moment, because certainly the stream from Monday got some decent exposure, and the snippet from that got some exposure as well, courtesy of the algorithm gods, bless up. But I'm also like, I'm shooting for 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which if I maintain some velocity, I reckon we can do. So if you're not already and you're enjoying the stream, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot, genuinely. Like 3 years into the game and many hiatuses later, back at it again. Cool. So I don't actually know how I want to do throw charging. I'll just do like a debug.log charging row ... And then when we release the throw, we have our throw force. So we're basically going to do the same thing that we're doing in the item drop, but we're going to throw it instead of dropping it. So we need to do clear the controller, grab all of our... actually, no, yeah, we just need to clear the controller. And then let's do rigid body temp equals, not text, temp equals held item dot get component rigid body. And then we can say temp dot add force transform dot forward multiplied by item throw force. And you know what? Maybe I don't even need this to be like a hold to charge, although I kind of want it to be, because then we can have some like build up for how much damage an item does based on how hard the person's throw it, and that's always fun. So let's go with that route, and then we'll also make sure we go in here and say throw charging equals false, and controller dot clear action callbacks. Cool. I think that should be throwing done, actually. Like we should be in a position where you can throw. Maybe we'll do it in stages, so we have like a small, a mid, and a large, and it just takes some time to build those up. I like that idea, actually. Let's go with that. And let's give ourselves a few different items that we can grab here as well, so that we can have a bit of fun. And you know what? While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and make the ground like way bigger and zoom out the camera a little bit as well. You know what? Maybe that's something that we can set up today too. If I get a bit of a shimmy on, is get the camera controller going. All right. Oh, I need to give my character some throw force, because at the moment he's not going to have any. Look at him, little weak man. Let's give him 5, and we want to make sure actually that we do this as an impulse. Add force. Impulse, so that it's instantaneous instead of being like gradual. How are we all doing, by the way? I realize I've been waffling a lot of code, and it's not particularly great. It's probably quite a lot. So as you can see, I'm pressing and holding K, and it's charging the throw, and I let go, and it's continuing to charge the throw. Why is this? Why is this, we ask ourselves. The reason is Cube is a dummy, and he hasn't set up the interactions. So what we actually need to do is, on our secondary interaction, we need to go in here and put in a slow tap interaction. Which means we then also need to have a press interaction for the normal type, and we'll make sure the press gets priority. And I think this should all be fine. If we leave that as default, it should still work, but it's gonna be kind of grim feeling, because it's like you can't technically anticipate the difference between like a tap and a hold. So charging, and we threw it, but it didn't do anything. Whoa! Whoa! What happened there? Did you see that? I might have to go back and like try and figure out what just happened. Where's the player gone? He's still going up. Can we follow him? Oh, he's coming back down again. But we're still holding... Oh, he's off again. He's off again. And he's back down. Why is this happening? Oh my god, I have no idea what I've done there. Held item. Got that? Yeah, the held item. Clear. This is a pickup item. Yeah. Get component, rigid body. And then we're doing temp.add force. Ooh, I have some ideas. So temp dot. Wait, no, because it should be getting set to kinematic. This is so weird. This is so weird. We'll clear the holding controller. We say our holding controller is null and kinematic is false. So what am I doing? What is going on? We're definitely clearing our callbacks. Let's throw a debug in here. Oh, yeah, no, we're definitely clearing our callbacks. Maybe let's just try a temp.add force like vector 3.forward just to see if it's gonna go in a direction. That would be handy. But I'm so confused. So we pick it up, holding, let go, throw triggered. Yeah. So we've thrown it, but somehow we're still carrying it, and out of nowhere it's just like woo, sends our dude up in the air. Let's pick up item 1. Can I stick this into debug mode and let's have a look at like, can I see the velocity or something? The rigid body 2D is so much nicer for like debugging, because it's got like a nice little drop down for all the components, or like all the things that are on it. But this is just nuts. I don't even know what could be causing this. Okay, tell you what, let's not do any of the add force stuff. Let's just pretend that we've dropped the item, basically. We also need to make sure let's leave that separate. So we stop. No! Alt enter, alt enter, alt enter, shift enter. There we go. Stop. Save. So now it should be the case that we let go of the K key and the ball just drops. It just starts falling. That's what we're going for here. If that doesn't happen, we're doing something wrong. Let's make sure we can still put stuff down normally. Yeah, cool. Pick it up. We're still charging the throw. I did not hold it long enough. Drop it. Okay. Is this going to be where I realise I've set is kinematic? No, is kinematic false? That's so odd. So odd. Oh no, I must be. This is why we don't repeat ourselves, folks. Because what I'm doing is repeating myself up in this bit, and clearly missing something in terms of like setting held item to null. That is exactly what I'm forgetting to do. I'm forgetting to set held item equal to null. So we're going to need to do some refactoring here so that like the shared logic is in its own function, like I don't know, some clear held item method. Let's do that now actually. Public void clear held item. And this is literally going to say held item dot clear holding controller, held item is equal to null. Like so. And then rather than doing this here like that, we can get our reference that we need and then clear held item. So I'm not going to forget anything funky. Do that like that, and I'm going to make sure I go ahead and get our temp registered there, and this should work now, theoretically. Fingers crossed. Hopes and prayers. Bang. Can still put it down. Yay! We can throw stuff. Let's go ahead and make it so that it throws it in the direction that we want it to throw it. Transform.forwards. And that should put us in the money. You just have to hold it for a proper long time, which I don't vibe with. I think rather than having it on an interaction basis, we should instead have it be like a performed and cancelled or a started and cancelled. So if started, throw charging is true, and if cancelled, then we'll release it. And I think that should do the same thing. Internet's bugging right now. Sorry for responding a bit late. No worries, dude. It could be my end, to be fair. You never know. But nope. Not 1,000 subs. I have been comfortably sat around 800 up until the Blackthorn prod video that I was on. And then that went up to like 870. Then the stream... like literally the release of Tilelands and the stream on Monday has carried me up to 900 now, so 100 away from 1,000. It's in reach. I can feel it. All right, here we go. Pick this up. Great. We can pick and throw. And then, of course, you know, the downside is you can just bang, tap it, and it'll still throw it, which is fine, actually. I don't think that's necessarily a downside. But cool, everything is working. Lovely stuff. And we've done 1 hour and 15. So what I think I will do is... yeah, I mean, I think we've got time to set up some resource objects, I think. So let's make a tree. Tree. Actually, I say tree. I don't think I want to do a tree first. I want to do a berry bush. Because berry bushes are fun. And we can go ahead and create some spheres under this 3D object sphere. We are going to reuse the test pickup material, and I'm going to rename it to berry bush. And I'm actually going to nab the green here and just make it like a bit more rich and dark. But I still want decent contrast is the main thing. So maybe actually we make it, yeah, let's make it cold green. That's good, that's good. One thing that does make me kind of sad about the flat kit stuff is that I can't have, like, I can't have it be like, brain, come on. I can't add like a noise thing to it so that it sways in the wind and stuff. But what I can do, which is super fun and super cool, is add in like a scale that down, move these so they're more central. I can add like a gradient, a height gradient, so I'm going to do that actually. We're going to go on our berry bush and go enable height gradient, and we'll say the gradient color is going to be black, size is going to be 1, we'll have it be in local space, and then we can like change the center of this thing. We could even make it like 0.5 if we wanted, so it's a little bit different, but you can see like we can do some really fun stuff here. Let's maybe not make it completely black. I might keep the same kind of green, but oh, that's kind of nice actually, having it be lighter. It's almost like a rim lighting type thing. And actually we can do the same thing. We can enable rim and use that same same shade of green. Maybe we we could have it like almost like an outline, but I don't think that's what I want to do. I don't want it to be like an outline. Maybe I don't even want the rim. Maybe I do want it to be darker at the bottom, like a shadow. Yeah, screw it. We'll keep it simple. The only thing I don't like is that we've got this, like not the anti-aliasing, the screen space ambient occlusion, which will disappear or can disappear if I use, if I have it all as one model. I think I can maintain the same color around the whole thing, but we'll see. I'm going to take these and rotate them around the center so that I can have this facing the camera a bit more, because I want it to be facing the camera a bit more. Going to go ahead and add a sphere collider, which, yeah, it's going to be like that kind of thing. 1.8. Let's go with. And let's put some berries on this bush as well, shall we? Duplicate the berry bush, and this is just going to be berry. I could probably make this a bit smaller actually. Let's go 1.75, and let's just remove the sphere colliders from these spheres as well. Duplicate. Whoop. Put our berry material on here, and the berries are going to be just pure red. Straight up. Maybe slightly pinky. Yeah. Slightly pinky red. Something that is, again, not going to hurt people's eyes and contrast nicely. Maybe I will give these a slight rim. Because it's kind of fun. Yeah, I like how that looks. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then I can go ahead and plonk this thing in here. Let's not have it cast shadows as well. Let's have that off. Get some berries on this bush. Looks like a little face now. Oh, it's tranquil. Tranquil indeed. Want to make sure these are like kind of embedded in the surface as well, so they're not sticking out too much. Because something else to remember is that the player is going to be able to rotate the camera. Which actually, that's something I need to keep in mind for like a local multiplayer version, is I'll probably need to set it up to support split screen. Which is not something that I've done in a very long time. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you when the last time I set up split screen in a Unity game was. It would have been before the input system came in. Which obviously it's quite a while ago now. Not gonna lie. Cool, we have a berry bush. Let's see how this is compared to the size of the player. I think the answer is way too big. So I'm gonna grab all of these. We're gonna scale from the center to something like that. That feels a bit more reasonable. Sort out our radius on this as well. Just position it a bit better as well. Like that. Yeah, that's good. Cool. I'm going to save this as a prefab. And I'm actually going to make a new folder to keep these in. This is going to be resource. Points, I guess. And we'll have a separate one for resources, for which I'm going to take our berry, bang, and this is basically going to be a duplicate of our what's the majignit? Ooh, I've made that berry very big. 0.35. 0.35? Yeah, 0.35. And I can move it 0.1. 0.2. Local. Pivot. Sick. We have a berry. I'm going to switch back out of orthographic mode in my scene view so that I can see what's going on a bit more. We'll add a sphere collider to this. You're going to be moved up 0.1, radius of 0.2. There we go. And a bridge body. And a pickup item. And we're going to put you on resources. Very nice. And then I can delete that from the scene view. And we can go ahead and I think for now I'm going to make just like a basic resource dropper. Yes, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. Following modular code. Tried out the demo of Tile Lands and it was fire. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And don't worry about not being able to buy the full thing. You know, it'll probably go on sale at some point. Go down to like £1. But I'm glad you enjoyed the demo. That is good. I'm really happy with the feedback that we've had so far. Actually, people seem to be really enjoying it, which is, yeah, I'm just super glad. Why was that berry gigantic? Probably because I was super close to it. I mean, it hopefully is not too much bigger than the rest of them. Oh, maybe it is much bigger than the rest of them. It is much bigger than the rest of them. Oh no. Okay, yeah. Fair. 0.25. Let's go with 0.25, because then I can figure out, like, it's 0.125 is how high up it needs to be at the base. Sphere collider is going to be 0.125 for the radius, 0.125 on the height. it's easy for me to do the maths in my head. Because, yeah, my brain is not the best at doing maths. Anyway, this berry bush, let's create a empty underneath this. This is going to be our graphics. And I'm going to put this under here. Okay, Unity. If you're going to be like that, let's open the prefab. Create an empty graphics. Make sure this is at 0, 0. Yep. Pop all of these under here, like so. And then I'm going to create an empty called resource droppers. And then we can have like, because there's two types of resources that I want the berry bush to drop, and that's berries and leaves. So both of these are going to have the resource dropper component on them. And what we'll have is like the berry bush is going to have some reference to these resource droppers, and we'll make it so that when you click on a random thing, simple enough. So what we need to do is go on here, say serialize field private, pick up item resource to drop. We'll also have a serialize field private int min items dropped. Or min items per drop. Like so. Likewise, we will do a private int min max items per drop. We will say, let's do an on validate, just to say max items per drop equals math f dot clamp max items per drop, min items per drop, and int dot max. So all that's going to do is mean, like, if I go in the inspector and I change the value for minimum items or try to change the value for max items, it's just going to mean I can't put max items lower than min items. Nice little thing. And then we'll have public void drop items, which is going to do a int drop count equals random dot range, and we're going to do between min items per drop and max items per drop plus 1, because when using integers the range function is exclusive, so it won't actually go up. If I want it to go up to 5, it will pick an item between 1 and 4 and we'll never get 5, so add 1. And then we can do a for int I equals 0, I is less than drop count, I plus plus, and we will simply pick up item drop equals instantiate resource to drop. And let's also have a I don't know, I want to pick a random direction to spit the item out at like a 45-degree angle, basically. So I want to add a force. I want to do drop dot get component rigid body dot add force. And yeah, how do you, I guess we get a vector 2. We pick a random vector 2. So let's do var launch direction equals new vector2 random dot range -1f and 1f, and we're going to do the same for our y value as well, and then we're going to normalize it, so that will give us a normalized directional vector, and then we can say drop dot get component rigid body dot add force new vector 3 launch direction dot x like 2 3, yeah, let's say 4 on the y, or maybe 2 on the y, and launch direction dot z at y even multiplied by 5 again, because 5 is like an easy force value to gauge, and we will once more do this as an impulse force mode. Sick, good start. So then for our actual berry bush, let's go ahead and make a script for that. Hold it, resource is I don't know, resource things. Yeah. I'm assuming you mean on stream, and unfortunately it's like I don't know why it is. Streamlabs just seems to have some integration issue with the YouTube chat for some reason. I imagine if I switched to Twitch it would probably be more stable, but I don't do Twitch, I do YouTube, so it's one of those things I'll have to look into at some point. Berry bush. So this is going to be interactable. And I am going to have interactable be... Well, yeah, we're going to do some things, because we're basically going to have... I'll have a serialized field, private int max berry count. You know what? Let's have our resource dropper return an integer as well for the number of items dropped, so that we can keep track of that. And then interactable is going to be, we'll have private int current berry count. And we'll say interact prompt is pick berries or harvest berries. Interactable is going to be current berry count is greater than 0. And then when we interact, we need a reference to our serialized field private. What's the majignet? What am I going to call it? Resource dropper. Berry resource dropper. And we will say, yeah, when we interact with it, let's just say berry resource dropper dot drop items. Nice and simple. I mean, we'll probably want to put some like cooldown on this as well, so that it's not crazy. We'll say current berry count minus equals that, and then also say current berry count equals mathf dot clamp current berry count 0 max berry count. Cool. Because I think what could be fun as well is if we have like maybe rain at some point, like waves of rain, and the player can pick up raindrops and drop them on a berry bush and it causes the berries to regrow. That would be quite fun. That should be our berry bush done though, basically. Let's go ahead and put berry bush on here. The berry dropper is going to be this, and I'm going to say max berry count is like 5. Or maybe let's say like, yeah, 5. 5 feels appropriate. And then the berry dropper can drop like 1 minimum and 2 maximum. Sick. I mean, this should work now. Watch me do this, and berries are going to just start spawning through the floor. Oh no, we've got a null reference exception. Oh, yeah, I haven't assigned the berry. Duh. I'm going to put the berry spawner a little bit higher, like 1.5, just so it's outside of our berry bushes collider. Because that way we won't end up with any weird collision stuff. And then let's put the berry in the berry spawner. Barnacle, to answer your question, this is going to be a multiplayer Dome Keeper style game where you have a central base that you're trying to defend, which you can mine resources from around the world and dump the resources into this base. And then from that base, you can build stuff that will protect your base. The difference being, instead of it being like a set range of upgrades or a set bunch of towers like a machine gun tower or a laser tower or the rest of it, you're building Astroneer style components. So like a tower base or a wheel, like a driving module or a controller module, an AI module, a mining laser, all the rest of it, and you can put them together how you want to give it more of like a, I guess like an automation sciencey factory type vibe, and to give the player the opportunity to build their own synergies, because I am a synergy buff. I love games that encourage weird experimentation, and that's exactly what I'm going to go for. Bang, look at that, all 5 berries in one go. It's just spraying out the berries. And the berries are rolling away. So this is a problem. This is a problem. I mean, I can fix a couple of these problems. Problem number 1 is in our input controller, we are just straight up firing the interaction trigger. We only want to fire it if context is performed. So I am actually going to have to not do this as a one-liner, sadly, and instead break it out if context.performed. We can invoke our interaction trigger, because otherwise it's gonna, yeah, it'll fire it off when you press it, when it's holding, when you let go, because it's like, yeah, just constant thing. And then the second issue, in our interaction controller, we're not checking to see if the interactable is interactable. So let's go ahead and do that, and interactable.interactable. Then we can interact. I think probably what we want to do is actually do this check down in the check for interactable method. Because we're going to use this method for handling UI pop-ups and things, and so I don't want it to be the case that we're depending on like having the UI look at that thing to check if it's interactable to show. I want it to just be the case that, you know, we look for something that's interactable, and if it is, then we do the thing. So I'm going to move this down here actually. If closest interactable dot interactable. And actually I'm gonna outvar temp out I interactable temp, and then if temp is interactable, then we'll say closest interactable equals temp and return true, otherwise return false. Bang on. Yeah, thumbnail was for chat because it's not updating. Barnacle says he understands why I chose the thumbnail, and yeah, it's exactly that reason, because Dome Keeper is like the core game loop vibe that I'm going for with the game. Every time you watch a stream like this, almost always have absolutely no clue what's happening. Yep, that's standard. I want to try and explain as much of it as best I can, but I'm also conscious that I need to get stuff done, so I kind of have to blitz through some things. But this is from the last stream. We set up a separate component for player interactions, which has a method to look for something interactable within a given radius. And the way this works is similar to like get component in Unity as well. So we're actually outputting a parameter that can come in, and then returning a bool for if we found something or not. So I can just do like check for interactable, and that's going to say true or false in my if statement. But then also if it's true, it gives me back the thing that is interactable and I can interact with it. So happy days. That's where that all comes in. This should fix my berry bush now. And I'll tell you what, before I press play again, let me just delete this player pawn. Make sure that I've, yeah, no overrides. And I'll apply all the overrides for the berry bush as well and get it moved over a smidge so we can walk up to it and do some stuff instead of spawning on top of it like we have been. Cool. Let's have a look and see if this will work. I'm interacting with it. Oh, I know the problem. Yeah, so... Oh, I just closed the berry bush by accident. Let's make sure on start we say current berry count equals max berry count. Beautifully in tune whistling there. There's one. There's three. They are disappearing under the floor, aren't they? Like, yeah, they're just falling through the floor for some reason. That was another two. And another one. There we go. We're out of berries. Fantastic. So I can't mine this anymore, or I can't harvest this anymore. But why on earth are my berries falling through the floor? Are they just moving that fast? If I just disable use gravity, they're still moving. Oh wait, am I like constantly adding the force? No, no. Why are rigid bodies what I'm struggling with today? What's going on? I don't get it. This is ridiculous. It's like the base level. Let me put a berry in the scene. I do want these berries to cast shadows as well, actually. Cast shadows on. There we go. Apply, and I'm gonna hit this. Core gameplay loop sounds like an IO game you've played. Oh yeah. Which one? Please let me know. J to drop. Pick up. J to drop. Okay, so that's all working. I can throw it. It's not falling through the floor. So it must be something that I'm doing when I actually harvest the berry. Also, why are the berries appearing over there? The answer is because I'm just instantiating it. I'm not instantiating it at transform.position. Transform.position. Quaternion. Dot rotation. Identity even. I kind of want to put like a little bit of delay in between each drop as well, just so they're not all coming out at once. Or maybe I do want them all to come out at once. I think that's fine. But yeah, I'm not sure why they're falling through the floor. I also think I probably need to put some like friction on these things as well. Look at it go. Oh, and now it's on the floor. Oh, yeah, because it was spawning at 0. Cool. That's all our berries. Let's make that force way, way lower. Make it like ×1. Or maybe have like the height be 0.5 and then times it by 2. And then we can give it some drag. So we want the berries have a drag of like 0.25 so it slows down. Cool. Boing. There we go. Berries. Berries. And that's 5. Fantastic. So now we can grab our berries, put them down, make like a little little berry pile. I lost one over here. Go, go, go. That's just entertaining. That's nice. And we also can't harvest the berry bush, which is cool. I'm going to I mean, we probably want to have it so that those berries like actually do the thing, or the bush updates with the berries when we pick stuff off. I've only got like 15 minutes left before I want to call it, so I think what I'm going to do is just add a bit of juice. So I'm actually going to go on the berry bush and I'm going to add a spring controller from my animation utils. Scale spring controller. Which actually I need to update these to use vector 3. Oh, it is using a vector 3. I am... I need to give myself more credit. I'll change the character, don't worry. I don't know if you were around when I was talking about Nightmare Daycare, but I'm basically going to just nab the character from this, which was, again, Game Jam game that I made back in 2022. Jeez. Would have been August 2022 sort of time. But I want to keep the kind of like round bean body with the head and have it be procedurally animated. In some respects, it will be like a mix between procedural animation and actual animations that I've done by hand. Cool. So what I wanted to do is make this like 1.2. Let's go 1.2 on X and Z, and then we can do 0.75 on Y with the spring controller. Set the damping to like 0.4 and the spring frequency to 35, and the affected transform is going to be the graphics, because then what we can do on our berry bush, if we grab a reference to that private spring controller scale spring controller on start, we can say scale spring controller dot set target position as the min position, I think. Yeah, min position. Likewise, scale spring controller dot ping 0. So that's just going to put it to 0. And then when we interact with it, I can do scale spring controller dot ping 1. And that means every time we interact with this thing, it's gonna do a little ping. And let's make sure that we grab a reference to it as well. Get component spring controller scale. And just like that, we have juice. Like that weird little slug cat game. If by that you mean the procedural animation bit, yes. Bang, look at that. Juicy. And now we can't interact with it. And I also, ooh, I think I might have just found a bug that I can interact with these other. Yeah, look, you see. So I've just interacted with these pickup items while I'm holding something else, and that's a bug. I think I want my berry bush to be more springy though. So I'm actually going to make this 1.3 and like 0.6, and then I'm going to set the damping to still 0.4, but the frequency can be like 25 instead. And then real quick, let's fix that bug on the pickup controller. We can say if grab a reference to the pickup controller. If pickup controller dot ooh, that's a design question. Do I want to have it so that if you're already holding something and you pick up something else, you drop the thing that you're holding and pick up the other thing instead? Or do we have it so that you just can't pick stuff up? I think we can probably make it swap. So let's give ourselves a way of doing this. We'll have a public bool holding item, which will return held item. It's not equal to null. And then we can say if pickup controller dot holding item, pickup controller dot drop item. I can't pass in null. Can I pass in default? Sick. That I can. That's obviously because we've got callback context in there because it's a callback action. But now we should have this nice springy little bush for when we pick berries off of it. Bang. Bang. Look at that. That's just nice. And then I can pick up a berry. I can swap the berry. I can't swap the berry. Why can't I swap the berry? Oh. Am I doing like a oh, because I haven't saved. And I am actually I'm gonna put a little bit more drag on these berries as well because they're sliding slightly too far. Maybe set it to 0.6. And I think that's going to be a good place to call it a day. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Berries. 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 Pick that one up. Oh, and I can't pick up the rest of them still. I'm going to have to figure out what the deal is there. If it's holding an item, held item is not equal to null. I mean, I guess let's just do it like this. Get private set. And then we can say when we pick up the item, holding item equals true. Rename this to is holding item because it's a bool, and then when we clear held item, we'll say is holding item equals false. Should be that simple, right? Whoa! Knock the camera. Not do that. That's the problem with having cables running underneath my desk. That should work. So yeah. If the pickup controller is holding an item, We're going to drop the item. It could be because of default. Yeah, because if context is not performed, we're returning. Maybe let's just have a private void drop item like that, and then I can rename this to drop item callback. Cut this out of here, call drop item like so, and that way we are we're still able to drop the item like normally. It needs to be public. Come on, Cuba. There we go. So now we can drop the item normally. That should work because context would, yeah. We should now be in the money. And I'm thinking I can do basically the exact same thing that I've got here with trees and stuff as well. So bang, pick up berry. There's one. Pick up a different berry. It didn't work. Oh wait, no, it is working. Yeah, I'm swapping. Yeah, yeah, it just looks like it's not working because it's instant, but it is working. I think let's just demo that it is working with a leaf, which is going to be like this shade of green, but slightly lighter. And we're not going to have a rim. Oh no, we will have a rim. Give it some smoothness, and I'll make it not as big. And I'll make it a darker shade of this green. And then I'm going to grab the berry, unpack the prefab completely. Unpack completely. Prefab, unpack completely. You're going to be leaf. I literally don't need to change anything on this. I can just give it the leaf material. If I zoom in close enough, I can just give it the leaf material. Leaf. Oh, that shade of green is not it. Let's go with that. And then the rim color can be like... maybe no rim. No rim. Let's just make it bigger on the X. So like 0.5. And then on Y we'll make it 0.1. So it's like super thin. And then instead of a sphere collider, we'll give it a box collider. Because we can size that a bit more appropriately. So what did I say the height was? 0.1. Which means we're going to move it up 0.05. Yep. Or just 0.1 apparently. Oh, of course, 0.125. Yeah. And then your 0.5. And Z, what did I say Z was? 0.25? Yeah, perfect. Make you a prefab for our resources. And then let's go ahead and get our berry bush able to do that. which will say, let's say if it's out of berries, we'll drop some, we'll have a serialized field private int max leaf count, private int current leaf count. Similar sort of thing. Current leaf count equals max leaf count. And then when we interact, we'll say if current berry count is greater than 0, do the berry stuff, else do the leaf stuff, which means we also need a leaf resource dropper. Can't wait for summer decorations to appear in December like Xmas decorations did in October. Dude, tell me about it. See, because I'm a person with a I'm a November birthday person, and so are many other people in my family actually. So it's like we don't do Christmas until December because that's when everybody's birthdays are out of the way. It's quite funny. So like we haven't got the Christmas tree up yet or anything because still got one birthday left, I think, maybe 2. Pretty sure it's just 1. But yeah, once that's over, we'll be done, and Christmas tree will go up. Let's make it drop, I don't know, 3 leaves before it's done. Got my leaf prefab, no overrides, delete. Let's get a few berry bushes going, shall we? Just so it's not quite so barren. Duplicate, bang. Give you some rotation. Duplicate, bang. Give this one some rotation. And duplicate. Bang. Give it some rotation. Sweet. So now, 2 hours of extra work. We have our player still able to move around. We can walk up to our berry bush and harvest it. There's some berries. I'm going to put you down. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I know what I've done. I want this to be an or, not an and. So if either of them is greater than 0, then we want it to be interactable. This is good. This is good. I'm feeling achieved with the progress on the stream today. Bang, 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 bang. Have I just dropped more berries? Why haven't I dropped leaves? I just dropped more berries. Am I instantiating the berry prefab? Oh, I'm such a dingus. There should be current leaf. Current leaf count. There we go. Leaf, leaf, leaf. Blah, blah, blah. And now we should have leaves dropping. This is what happens when you code late in the evening. Berries. 3, 4, 5 berries. We have a leaf clone. What? The leaf is falling. Oh, yeah. Ah. 1.5. My gosh. And you know what? Let's put my spring controller on the berries and leaves as well, because spring controller scale. And we'll make this the same for all pickup items. I'm going to have the frequency be like 20. Damping can be... Let's have it a bit faster this time, so 30. No, wait, hold on, no. 0.65, because I want it to spring less, and then the frequency 25. Affected transform is going to be the graphics. Max scale vector is going to be... No, I want it to be itself. 111 000. Let's copy that component, paste it on the leaf. Paste values. Make sure the leaf scales itself. And then on the pickup item, let's go ahead and also have a private scale spring control scale spring controller on awake. We'll make sure to get that. And then in start, let's say scale spring controller dot ping 0, scale spring controller dot set target position 1, not 12, 1. Boom. And then really what I need to do is actually just make like a base resource object instead of using a like having them all separate, and then I can make prefab copies. But now, boom, our berries kind of plop into existence. Same with our leaves, but they're a little... There's one. There's a leaf. There's another leaf. I think they're the same color, aren't they? But I can make a little leaf pile. And just to prove that our swapping is working, bang, a little swap. And I can drop both. Cool. All right, I'm gonna let that be the end. Look at that. Look at that. Chat is working perfectly over here, just not on the dev screen. I have no idea why. I can't figure it out. But anyway, I have to do the obligatory, you know, Thailand's is on Steam now. Please go check it out. It means the world. If you do play it and you enjoy it, please leave a review as well. It massively helps out. Steam's got a little algorithm boost thing that they do at 10 reviews. So obviously don't just leave a review to help me out, you know. Play the game. If you enjoy it, leave a review. I want legitimate reviews, please. But yeah, out on Steam now. If it's your type of thing, you can go and check it out. Otherwise, thank you very much everyone for coming and checking out the stream. I'm going to look to do another one at some point next week, which inevitably I will do more progress on the actual game between now and then, probably adding in some more resource things, stuff that I don't need to do on stream, because we've already written all the code and everything. And yeah, that's it. Thanks very much. I'll see you guys next time.